So a little while ago, we got a new wave of Diamond Select Avatar The Last Airbender figures. We got Firelord Ozai from the final battle, and we have the most badass character in the show, Toph. Absolutely stoked to finally have a Toph. Is she perfect? She's pretty good. I do have a couple issues that I like, are sort of issues, but not the biggest issues, but also kind of are issues. And then Ozai, he's great. He has a lot of presence. But man, this line, like Diamond Select, just has a lot of weird quirks to their stuff, and they're not fixing the issues. But let's just get into it. So let's talk about probably Toph first, because as you can see, Ozai's got a lot going on. Like, I think everyone's just going to display Ozai like that, right? So Toph, she's pretty cool. She's got a lot of stuff going on too. So she has this awesome rock effect, which is kind of like her kicking the rock, you know, like they stomp and then it rumbles and then it shoots up. So yeah, she's got that cool effect. You can kind of have her kicking it. You can kind of have her riding it too if you want. So that's a really cool effect piece. It is kind of clear, which is sort of odd. I feel like it could have been a, you know, just a solid, you know, gray or brown piece. But still, I think it kind of helps give the effect of motion, I guess. But still, it's just kind of odd that it's clear, because it's not, doesn't have a lot of opacity to it. But you also have these cool effect parts. Let's get her off the icky base. We'll talk about that. She has two effect parts for her just like throwing some rocks in her hands, which is basically the extent of the earthbender powers in the movie. Remember when like all those guys were like doing the motion? It was just like a one little rock. I love it. Toph would just look at that and laugh while she would look at it. Anyways, you do have a fist. You have fist hands too, which we'll talk about the alternate hands. You do get two of these, which I think is cool. So you can have her like throw in multiple rocks, even though I feel like the rocks are a little tiny, like I said. Still, they're cool pieces. I think they're cool. It almost looks like she's using some kind of force power. And I do like how they're kind of different. These rocks are bigger and these rocks are like little tiny stones. So I do like that variation. Yeah, you have that. You have her fist hands, very tiny little pegs. Really be careful with those, because those are super thin and tiny. They hold in her hand very well, though. So she has fists. Again, these figures at least come with one useless pair of hands. She comes with, like, flat karate chop hands. Pretty useless, in my opinion. In fact, I think I lost one, but I genuinely don't care. Then you have two open hands as well, which very little dainty fingers. At least she has thumbs, which is nice, unlike the first release of Aang, whose open hands didn't really have thumbs. And there's the other, the fist, comes with, you know, the piece to the base, and the Earthbending Champion belt, which is awesome. You can't actually clasp it around her. I think does it go this way or this way? I don't remember. It's kind of hard to remember stuff like that. But yeah, you cannot clasp it, but you can have her hold it. If you use, like, the open hands, sometimes you might be able to find a way to get the thumb, maybe through one of those holes. Maybe that's doable. Maybe. Definitely this bigger hole. You can definitely get that through. But yeah, you can have her holding the belt, which is cool. I might display her with the belt sometimes. Because honestly, man, one thing I'm sick of nowadays with these Avatar figures, I display most of my figures on these, even though I don't really like them, are these bases. They're just so big and so cumbersome, and I don't feel like the hinges, like there's so much give in between the clicks. There's so much give. It's just, and like, it's clear plastic. I'm worried they're going to shatter. You have to always tighten and loosen these screws. They always want to pop out exactly like that before they actually want to hinge. And it's like they just want to droop sometimes. And the figures don't even stay in the foot pegs too well. Like I say that and oh yeah, you can see what I mean. They just don't really stay in the foot pegs too well. I've had them come off all the time because the pegs are just so like fat and stumpy. Yeah, honestly, very unimpressive bases. If you can replace the bases with something better, I would recommend doing that. So, Toph as a figure then. Like I said, in my opinion, this is the most badass character in Avatar. She is amazing. So I'm super happy to have a figure of her. But when they first showed the pictures, I was like, dang, she has a huge, huge head. And I feel like a big part of that is her hairstyle. Because if you bring in Aang, this is the Book 3 Aang, if you bring in Aang, I feel like these scale pretty well. Her head, though, like if you actually look at her head size, it is the same as Aang's, right? It's pretty much the same head size as Aang's, but her hair makes it look so much bigger. I feel like they should have made her head smaller. I feel like they just should have made her head smaller. That would have made her look way more in proportion. That would have made her look better. Her head's just too big. It's just a little too big. I understand maybe in some scenes her head looks big, in other scenes it doesn't look as big. But this figure, the head is just too big. The head, though, looks nice. She's got her gray blind eyes. She's got her headband. She's really cool looking. The greens. I love her color scheme. She's just such an awesome character. I don't know what Mattel was thinking, just not releasing Toph and Katara and all them. You can pretty much see her articulation. She's got a lot of good knee range. The forward hips on these figures just aren't that good. They don't go all the way forward, and that's totally their fault. They could go more forward. They just position the hinge too high up, so it doesn't move any more forward than that. But you can see the range there. She's got the thigh swivel. She has her bare feet, so she can feel and everything, and they can tilt. I mean, she's got the waist joint. The elbows on these figures are never the greatest, but they're not bad on Toph. They're not bad. Honestly, man, I'm just happy that we're getting a pretty coherent and consistent line of Avatar figures finally. I know McFarlane got the rights, man. Are they going to do anything? I'd love to see some Korra stuff. Honestly, I would love a line of Korra. Because I have finally watched Korra, and I actually like it a lot. But yeah, there she is with Aang. That's pretty nice. I mean, you can see, like, her head is the same size. Her hair just makes it look so much bigger. But yeah, that is Toph out of the way. Really nice figure. Not perfect, but really nice. And then we have Firelord Ozai. For whatever reason, they released Ozai with Toph. And the Aang that goes with this Ozai is released with Sokka. I feel like it should have been the other way around. But Ozai here, he's very... he has a presence. And we'll talk about that base. So he comes with hands, again. He comes with very nice fist hands, which are nice and, nice and big. The biggest hand so far in this line, because this is the first full-grown adult. We have, open hands, which I think are also good. And these fairly useless, oddly palmed hands. I mean, they might be good for, like, poses and things while he's bending, but something about the palm, and it's just, again, they feel kind of useless. I feel like all these figures at least come with one pair of useless hands. Like, I think Aang came with 2 different kinds of open hands. It's just so weird. His effect pieces, then, as you can see, he's got 3, which is awesome. So he's on his base, which is very precarious. He's fallen over on the base a lot. But he comes with the fire burst. Let's kind of get that off of him. And the fire burst comes in 2 pieces. That's like how he propels himself. And let's get him off the base, because he is a heavy figure. Like, he is very heavy. So this is actually not supposed to be tilted. It got tilted from how I've had him on it the whole time. It comes off like that. And, yeah, you can, maybe have him posed without it or with it. It's basically where he's taken off because of Sozin's comic, because he can fly now. I don't like, a thing I don't like is that there's no peg hole on the bottom of this. So you can't have it in the middle of this. You have to have it off to the side. Because this stupid base, like, why isn't there a peg hole? That'd make it so much more stable. Anyways, and this isn't the same size either. You can't put that on. You can't. And they could have fit the hole. They could have re-engineered it to fit the hole. In this base, man, I've tightened all the screws so it wouldn't move too much, but it still moves a little bit. Because I fully intend to display him like how I had him at the start of the video, because that's badass. But yeah, it's kind of disappointing that he, even after being on a base and already having a stand, he's still so wibbly. And another wibbly thing, his daughter had the same issue. His wrists, they can't hold up the weight of the effect parts. Someone said in the Azula review that they do have holes on the effect where you can put a base, and that is true. Like, even on the lightning here, there's a hole. But honestly, man, they don't give you enough base to do that. How many bases are you going to use? Are you going to have, seriously, like, 3 bases for this figure? It's like, I feel like they could have easily engineered this where he can support the weight of these effect parts. They just didn't. And that's disappointing. Now, granted, this one, I feel like you're mostly going to want to use it to be more of his propulsion. But his lightning, you'll want him kind of pointing that and shocking it at Aang. And, yeah, it's Wibbly. He wants to, you know, it just, you know, that's disappointing. It is. That's a letdown. It shouldn't, I don't feel like it should be like that. I feel like they could have made the effects a lot lighter. Because sometimes people are like, oh, it feels so light and cheap. Yeah, that's so it doesn't get all wibbly and horrible. You can see, like, just having those in and how they've weighted down, the wrists are a little loose now. Yeah, let's give him some normal hands. Now, his head is stuck in a perma, like, I'm flying around, sort of being a badass Sozin Comet-powered firebender, which is cool, because that's how everyone's going to want to display him all the time, because this is the final battle Ozai. But still, it's... I mean, could you maybe use him as Agni Kai Ozai? I feel like you could. You could probably make him Agni Kai Ozai, too, if you really want. Because that's what Mattel was going to do, I think. But that got canceled and a few got leaked out. I wish I was able to get that one. But yeah, I'm happy to have a Ozai. Or an Ozai, I should say. Again, his articulation is a little eh. You can see his hips don't want to move forward too much. And if you try moving it forward more, you get a scuff right there. So that's nice. His knees are big and chonk. And then he's got the thigh swivels. He's got his feet, which can rock and all that. This is the first figure, like I said, that's like a full-sized adult. So you can really kind of get a sense of the scale in this line, that it is a 7-inch line. But his articulation's not bad. A little bit limited in the elbows, but overall it's not bad at all. His head sculpt is a little odd. Not super odd. I just feel like you need to see more of his upper teeth, too. I feel like if you, like, I don't know, something about it. Like, it looks good, but I just feel like you should see more of his upper teeth. I mean, they are in there. I feel like he's just, you know, there's something about it. It's not the worst. It's a very good head sculpt. It's just a minor little, like, I feel like I should see more of his teeth. But I love his hair. His hair looks really nice. And yes, he's already dusty. I've only had him for like a month and he's already dusty. Man, my house. But yeah, this is a pretty good figure too. Like I said, he's nice and chonk. I can't wait to get Aang to go with him, because I'll definitely have them in like the final battle. So one comparison I need to make is with his son, Zuko. So you can see the size difference there. So yeah, for sure, you know, this is a full-sized adult, and he's just like a 16-year-old teenager. And we can bring in Aang and see the size difference there. And then we can bring in Toph and see the size difference there. So yeah, I think they got the scaling pretty good in this line. Not perfect. I still feel like Azula should be a little shorter than Zuko. Because Azula's like eye-to-eye to Zuko in this line. But yeah, that's basically it, man. More Avatar figures. I did also get that Boost Action. I got that Aang, and I will review that here soon. But I want to review these first because these came out first. And yeah, I recommend them, man. If you're into Avatar... Ooh! Jeez, I keep bumping into the camera. If you're into Avatar, I recommend this line. I think it's a good line. Could McFarlane do better? Yes, McFarlane could do better. And they could do them cheaper, too. For sure, McFarlane Toys can make better Avatar stuff. And I kind of hope they do. But at the same time, it's like, I just love Avatar so much. I don't mind collecting, like, multiple lines. I just don't. Because I love Avatar. I'll take anything I get. Alright, there we go. Ozai and Toph. A very odd pair, but it's a pair we got, and it's a good pair. Alrighty, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.